Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Whitney and I'm a fragrance and flavor enthusiast. Here on my channel, we mostly explore fragrances, but I sometimes like to throw in other content here and there just for fun. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you to everyone that has viewed, liked, commented, shared, and subscribed. So today I will be sharing with you guys some fine fragrance mists from Bath & Body Works that remind me of perfumes. So some of the perfumes that these mists remind me of are actually in my collection, and the others are ones that I've either had samples of or have just smelled in store. So yes, let's get into it. So the first mist that I have for you guys is White Citrus, and this is a citrusy, slightly sweet, fresh smelling scent that I really do enjoy, and it works really well in warm weather as well as like straight out of the shower. But yeah, I really do enjoy the scent profile. And the perfume that I smelled that immediately reminded me of White Citrus is none other than Versense by Versace. So when I first smelled Versense in store, I was like, yeah, that's White Citrus. I know they're not identical, right? But that was the first thing that came to mind. And I had actually had White Citrus before I tried Versense in store. So, when I say that, I mean I've already had my experience with this, so I was pretty familiar with the profile of White Citrus. So when I smelled Versense, which was something that I had wanted to smell for a very long time, mostly because of the bottle and the color of the juice, but I was like, yeah, I already have that. So to me, it seemed kind of redundant to even get Versense just because White Citrus fulfilled what I needed in a scent that would give me that citrusy, fresh scent that works really well in like warm weather. So yeah, this is a good one. So the next mist that I have for you guys is Sensual Amber. And this is one that really just smells exactly like how its name sounds. Because it's a seductive, warm scent, and it has a sweetness to it. And it has like a maturity to it, but it doesn't smell like dated to my nose. Like I wouldn't consider this like a playful scent. This is like a down to business kind of scent. So when I first got Sensual Amber, I was unboxing a Bath & Body Works haul with a friend. And when she first smelled Sensual Amber, she was like, oh yeah, that reminds me of something. And the perfume that it reminded her of was Estée Lauder's Sensuous. And I had never smelled that scent before. And so I really had no way to compare it. But shortly afterwards, we went to the mall and we went and smelled Sensuous. And I'm like, yeah, totally. They have that similar vibe where it's just like a warm, sweet scent that's kind of floral, but it's like sexy woman. That's how it smells. And yeah, I really like it. And the fragrance mist actually performs quite well on me. I find that I don't need to go too crazy with it. I mean, I do anyway, but I don't have to because the performance is there. But yeah, so Sensual Amber does remind me of Estée Lauder's Sensuous. So next up we have Black Amethyst, and this is one that is potentially considered a retired fragrance from Bath & Body Works. I see it kind of popping up here and there on their website sometimes. Like sometimes it's available, sometimes it's not. And I'm not too sure about its availability in physical stores. Perhaps the outlets would be a potential choice for you if you live near one or are willing to travel to one. But anywho, this is a sexy, another kind of grown woman kind of scent that has like depth to it with the patchouli and the fruity and floral notes in here. So I feel like this is a scent that smells a lot more expensive than it actually is. And the performance does match this. I feel like on me, this performs quite well in the sense of it lasting a few hours on my skin, you know, considering it is a fragrance mist. But the perfume that this reminds me of is Chanel's Coco Mademoiselle Intense. And I was smelling the different Mademoiselles just to see like if any vibed, like fit my style. And the one that really stood out to me was the Coco Mademoiselle Intense. And I was surprised by how much it reminded me of Black Amethyst, to be honest. Like, not saying that Coco Mademoiselle Intense or any of its iterations smell cheap, but I was just surprised that something that's perhaps considered to be as inexpensive as a fragrance mist could vibe like a high-end designer fragrance. So yeah, I'm satisfied with this in my collection, to be honest. Chanel is a house that I feel like there are scents in there for me, but I have yet to find one that I feel like really speaks to me and matches my style, but that's a whole other story. But the point is, Black Amethyst reminds me of Coco Mademoiselle Intense. So next up, I have Happy Vibes, and this is one that I really am enjoying wearing, and it's a floral honeysuckle prominent fragrance with depth to it coming in from that vetiver, I believe. So this is one that I do enjoy wearing. It's kind of sunny in nature. It's sweet and it's not overpowering, even though I feel like this does perform quite well in the sense of it being long lasting on me and actually one that projects, especially when I spray it on clothes. But the perfume that this reminds me of, because of the way that it vibes, is Jo Malone's Honeysuckle and Davana. So I had received a sample for Honeysuckle and Davana and I went right through that with no problems because I really did enjoy how it smelled. And when I got Happy Vibes, it reminded me of Honeysuckle and Davana. Not that they necessarily smell the same, but they do vibe in the sense, they vibe the same in the sense that they both share honeysuckle as a note, like a prominent note, and it has that sweet floral factor to it. But then there's this like earthy green depth to it that both of the fragrances share. So not that they smell identical, but they do vibe similar in terms of like their scent profile. And I like that. So next up, I have two fragrance mists that actually remind me of the same perfume. Not that they smell the same, but they just remind me of the perfume in their own way. So those two mists are Gingham Love and Country Apple. So let me see if you could tell. Trying to see if there are matching notes. Not at all. But that doesn't mean that, you know, there are some secret notes in here that aren't listed, but that's beside the point. So the perfume that these two remind me of in their own way is Eden Juicy Apple 01 from KayAli. And let me clean this a little bit, hold on. So, right, like I said, these two fragrance mists don't necessarily smell the same. Actually, they don't smell at all alike, but what they do on their own reminds me of this one. And I'll say why. So let's start off with Country Apple because this is the one I had first. So with Country Apple, there's a leading apple note and there's like a freshness, a juiciness, and just like an overall brightness to it that I feel is what Eden Juicy Apple 01 gives me, because this is an apple forward scent that has that like juicy freshness to it. So for me, oops, yeah, they vibe in the sense that they're both apple heavy. Let's put it that way. Apple heavy and sweet and juicy and fresh. So it's not like warm baked apple. This is like fruity. This is like fresh, juicy apple. So I see there's a woody note in here. What is it? Orchard woods. I can't remember if KayAli has woody notes in it, but most likely in some degree it does have. And with Gingham Love, this is obviously a flanker of Bath & Body Works original Gingham scent, which I'm not a huge fan of. I like the body wash, but I'm not a fan of the fragrance mist for whatever reason. And the reason why I feel like Gingham Love reminds me of Eden Juicy Apple 01 is that this is prominent in the berry notes, and KayAli's Juicy Apple 01 does have berries in it that are also at the forefront of this fragrance. And I'm pretty sure there is a rose note in the KayAli fragrance as well, and there's a rose meringue note in Gingham Love. Now, what I will say is what makes Gingham Love smell even more similar to Eden Juicy Apple 01 than Country Apple does is because of not only the berry notes and not only the rose, but also with the meringue note in here, there's like a sort of crisp sugariness that I get in Gingham Love that I feel like I also pick up in KayAli's fragrance, in the sense that there's like a sugariness to Juicy Apple 01 that I feel I find in both scents. Not that they smell the same, but they just vibe in the same way, like a sugary, juicy scent that's kind of floral. So yeah. So next up, I have a fragrance mist that I got kind of late. It was released in fall of 2021, or at least it was a fall. I'm trying to remember. Either way, it was was it even a fall release, child? I don't remember. Point is, it was released in 2021, and I feel like I only got it, I don't even remember when I got it. Definitely afterwards. Point is, here it is. Marigold and cane sugar. So this is a scent that I actually really like. And I was actually surprised by how much I liked it. I think because at first I was like, a floral scent. I don't know. I'm kind of like picky with florals. Like sometimes I find them to be a little bit boring, but to me, this is not a boring scent at all. There's like it's like, it has like a citrus note in it. Some people have said that citrus note is actually pineapple, but there is something about it that makes it like juicy and sweet in a way that keeps it from being like basic smelling to me. And the scent, the perfume that this reminds me of is one that I was testing out early last week and not thinking too much of it. I wasn't trying it to decide if it smelled like this, but as that particular perfume dried down, I was like, oh, wait a minute, that reminds me of something I have. And then I realized it was the scent. So switch hands here. There you go. So the scent that the Marigold and Cane Sugar fragrance mist smells like to me is Simply Gorgeous from Julianna's Perfume. And the Simply Gorgeous fragrance is an impression of Chanel's Beige. So the notes in Simply Gorgeous are frangipani, hawthorn, honey, and freesia. And the notes in Marigold and Cane Sugar are golden citrus, sunshine marigold, cane sugar, and warm amber. So as you can see, they don't share notes, but they share vibes. Now, what made me think that Simply Gorgeous smelled like Marigold and Cane Sugar was that in the dry down of this one, it literally just smelled like what Marigold smelled like to me, which is kind of like, how to explain it? Let me just smell it to remind myself. Because it's kind of like, there's like a freshness to it, but it has like a kick where it's not just like a soft or subtle scent. I think I've seen Marigolds being described as like spicy, and I would have to agree. That's probably one of the best ways to put it, where it's just like, it's not demure, at least not to my nose. And that was the kind of vibe that I was picking up as Simply Gorgeous dried down on my skin. Now I looked up the notes and none of the florals in here were described as fresh spicy, but I think what helps these two to smell similar to me is that warm amber note. So you know that's a warm resiny kind of scent profile, and then you have honey in here, which is kind of like a sweet, you could say resiny kind of scent profile, and then the golden citrus in here. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure if it was which of these three florals it was, but one of the three florals in Simply Gorgeous are described as like giving off like a citrusy vibe. So both give like a sweet, citrusy, florally vibe that ends up drying down kind of similar, not exact, but quite similar to my nose, I guess, because maybe the floral note is the last thing that lingers on the skin. But either way, pretty close and very surprising. I was very pleasantly surprised about that. But yeah, I'm glad to have discovered that. So last up, I have a fragrance mist that I think is perfect for spring. As a matter of fact, all of the fragrances I shared with you today, I feel like would work perfectly this season, even leading into summer, in their own ways and used accordingly. So use your discretion. But anyway, the last fragrance mist I have for you is one that I really enjoy because it's a clean smelling scent that also has like a sexiness to it. And that is none other than Magnolia Charm. So like I said, this is one that just smells super fresh and clean to me, but it just has like a sex appeal to it that I just can't explain. And I don't know if it's just because it smells not like ultra clean, but slightly sweet in the sense of its floral sweetness. But yeah, this is just so good. It kind of reminds me of like dryer sheets or like luxury soap, and I'm here for it. And this is one that reminds me of two perfumes in my collection, actually. And there was one that it immediately reminded me of when I first smelled Magnolia Charm. And it basically, I was like actually thinking like Magnolia Charm was a dupe for it. That's how close they smelled to my nose when I first smelled the perfume that I'm going to share with you first. After having it and owning it, yes, I smell the differences, but I will say that they do vibe similarly for sure. And the first perfume that I have to share with you is none other than Pure Poison from Dior. So with Pure Poison, this is another scent that smells quite sexy to me, but it's also quite clean smelling at the same time. And the florals in here don't give off like a dated vibe to my nose. It just smells elegant, and that's kind of like what I get with Magnolia Charm. There's like an elegance to the way that it smells clean and feminine without being too much to my nose. So let me just smell it because I wanna. Yeah, this is a good one. Now there's no Magnolia in Pure Poison. At least it's not listed as a note, but I'm pretty sure Pure Poison is more, the jasmine note in here is what leads, but not saying that Magnolia or jasmine smell the same, but they're both white florals, and that's just the vibe that I get, like a clean smelling white floral that's sexy and feminine. Now, there's another scent in my collection that Magnolia Charm reminds me of, and I didn't pick up on it until later on, and that is Montblanc Signature. So Montblanc Signature actually does feature the note of magnolia. So I haven't smelled magnolias in real life before, but I imagine that I think they've been described as like a waxy kind of floral, if I'm not mistaken. And I feel like, again, with Signature, it kind of gives me that same vibe of like a white floral, but not like a typical white floral, not to my nose at least. But it has like that clean, effortless, but elegant, feminine scent to it, which I really do like. And I feel like Pure Poison actually smells a lot closer to Magnolia Charm than Signature does, but because of how they vibe, that's why I want to share them with you today, because they vibe similarly. Not that they smell the same, but they do definitely vibe similarly. So yeah. Yay. So let me know down below which Bath & Body Works fragrance mist you smelled or owned smell like perfumes to ya. I'm very curious because I want to know what y'all got and what y'all know, and see if I got them over there and if I can make something happen. So if you liked today's video, please like this video, and if you're not subscribed already, I would appreciate a subscribe from you. And if you want to support my channel even more, feel free to buy me a bubble tea. All the information is listed down below in the description box. So as always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you later. Bye! So I have some, it leans, well, we're not talking about that. We're just talking about, should I start over? Probably. I'll just say yes.